This is real busy for Monday. This week though, I guess this is Halloween week. Halloween is the biggest tourist night here. It's the most people come here on Halloween, more so than any other holiday. Sirens, always sirens going on. I went out to pick up a few things. I went to Waikiki market over here, and I just had to bail out. I had some stuff that I was going to buy, but sometimes you just, too many people, and well, this happens to me. I get kind of antsy, when I got too many people reel up on me, and it was just like one uncomfortable situation after another. I'm like, I gotta just bail on this place, I had the camera running when I was coming through here because I wanted to see if I could catch on film. There's this dude that it happened on the way coming up, so I wanted to turn it on just to see if I could get any footage of this. He's a skateboarder, but he's not really good at it. He's always falling and doing all this shit, but he waits until people are crossing the street, right? And then he like dive bombs them. Walking up here, you almost knocked this lady over, and I'm just going, why? No one else is saying anything. No one else is saying it. And I don't know if he heard me or not, or whatever, he's ignoring me, but he was mumbling stuff under his breath. But then again, these type of people tend to mumble under their breath when they see it anyway. So, but I didn't catch it. But he's out. Yeah, there's these other guys now too. All new residents, by the way, that do the same thing with their bikes in traffic. They wait till there's a lot of traffic, and they come zooming between the cars and do these wheelies and stuff. But they just, they want attention. But it's like, why do you have to try to hurt people at the same time? And none of these fucking fat security guards will say anything to these guys. I'm not going to say anything to them because of, social reasons. So, what ends up happening is they just fucking do whatever the fuck they want. So, this fucking skateboarding guy, he's coming up, he makes these huge jumps. And I don't know, if you're into skateboarding, I guess it's kind of cool, but he's not super great at it, and he like specifically waits so there's people so he can come and jump in the middle of them and do these tricks, so they'll be like, what, wow, or I don't know what he wants from them. But you're gonna wait till people across the street and then dive bomb? Well, that's what he's doing. So on the way up, I was watching him do this. He waits till people cross the street, then jumps off and tries to jump in the middle of them. It's fucking retarded. So I was hoping to catch him on the way back, but he's gone. Yeah, like if I'm smoking too close to a building, security guards will waddle over to me and play cop. Certain other people do whatever the fuck they want, and they ain't gonna say shit to them. It's too bad. It's too bad. But whatever, it's just how things are. And for that, I lost a lot of my friends, my neighborhood, I used to know a lot of people here. I had friends here and different houses, and they're all gone. All gone. Like, I don't know anybody anymore. Like, they all had to go because of COVID. When COVID came in, and this is a long, involved story, so I'm not going to get too into it. I did a series on my channel called the 42% series. And what I was doing is I was investigating a jump in crime here for one calendar year that was 42%. That's what they're admitting. And it's not just crime, but violent crime. assaults, robberies, murder, aggravated assault, sexual crime, shit like that. Shit we never had here before. And the reason we never had it is because there was a financial barrier here. It's very expensive to live here. Any space is very costly. Your average home is $1 million for a 1-bedroom, and your average rent for a 1-bedroom apartment is $2,500. So there was a barrier there. So you had to have money, right? They did have some low-income housing, but the lists to get on them were long. And usually they were for islanders, you know, islanders who had lived here for generations and who had their fucking place taken from them, you know. And so they usually would take up that, you know. So, again, I'm going to try to keep it short. With the COVID thing, when the federal money came in from the federal government to give to the people of the state, the local, the state people held on to it. And they held it for a long time. You can still find newspaper articles about this or online articles. The outrage of people like, hey, give us our money. And they were like coming up with these really lame excuses. At first, like, well, we need to hire people to process this. It's like, all right, so this hiring thing, they hired people to process it. And then they said, we have too many people, we need to get a bigger place to put them in, to count this stuff, to process this stuff. They said, okay. So then they said they claimed they were at the convention center. So they weren't answering the phones. So people started showing up at the convention center mad. So what they do, they put security guards out there, armed security guards, to tell people to fuck up. Well, eventually, come to find out, they weren't even in there. They were somewhere else. So this cat and mouse thing with the money went on for, God, 7-8 months, probably longer for some people. I'm still owed one. I got one payment, but I never got the other one. A lot of people never got anything. It just became a full-time job trying to hunt down your check. So because of this, a lot of people had to leave. They had to move. There was a big exodus to Las Vegas. All this is in the media. You can find all these articles and shit. So now they got all this empty space here because they got rid of all these people. So you're thinking, well, you know, it's so expensive. People want to get as much money as they can for these places, blah, blah, blah. Well, because it was COVID, it was an emergency situation, right? When you're in a state of emergency, zoning rules don't mean anything. And they had seminars where they would have landlords come in, some of whom don't even live here. They live in other parts of the world, other parts of the country. And it was explaining to them how they could convert their space into low-income housing. So what they did is that's exactly what they did. They did it in my building, they did it in that building, they did it in a lot of buildings here. In fact, this building over here used to be for elderly and handicapped. And there's still some elderly and handicapped in there, but there's a lot of able-bodied people in there too. So, Islanders gone. Tons of low-income housing opened up here, and they just brought people in. People who you just didn't see here before because of the monetary barrier. But when they came in, they brought a lot of bullshit with them. And that's why we had the 1 calendar year 42% spike in crime. It is what it is. People get upset to hear someone talk about this, but I'm just reporting what happened. You know, I'm a noticer. You know, I notice things, and they don't like people who notice things. They especially don't like people who notice things and yap about it. And I'm sure they really fucking hate people who notice things, yap about it, and fucking put it on YouTube. There's a lot more moving parts to this whole operation, what happened here. Used to be one of the safest cities in America when I moved here. We didn't have any crime like that at all, because even the people that would do stuff like that wouldn't do stuff like that, because this is their island. They, you know, they cared about their ohana. They knew the old lady at the bodega, so they weren't about to go in there and put a gun in her face and then shoot her anyway for $120. This wouldn't happen. You know, all the kind of violent crime we have now didn't happen because the people that do that kind of thing weren't here. Well, now we got them. And yeah, it sucks. There's like I said, there's a much bigger story. There's a lot of moving parts to it. I got some information for some people, explaining, filling in some blanks, and you know, I just never know where to start with that. Like I never know how to. It's such a big story, and there's so many parts to it. That 42% series, when I began it, I didn't understand why that crime spike had happened. And then as I start figuring it out, I'm like, oh, okay. And then I was like, shit, how do I talk about this? So I just kind of dropped it, because it's like, fuck, I got to figure out how to present this and not have someone burn my condo down, which would be kind of hard, because just to get my unit, you know, that would be tricky. Not outside the realm of possibility, but all right, I'm gonna get down some NyQuil, try to kill off the end of this cold. I'll go back to this stuff once I figure out how to present the whole thing, or if I even want to. I don't even know if I want that kind of heat. You know, it's whatever. I had a few good years here. 2016, 2019 was awesome here. Awesome. 4 in the morning, just go out for a stroll, walk down the beach, put my feet in the fucking water. I'd never do that now. You can't, really. You know, there's too many young men standing around the corners kind of looking. It's like, motherfuckers. The real rough part is when they all meet each other. And then you have little groups standing on the corners instead. And that's coming. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.